Previously on the True Blue Challenge, I entered the professional league, met a familiar face, was introduced unto longer races in an all-Honda Cup, and proved the NSXR as the best Type R of all time. With that had been said, I welcome you back to the world of Gran Turismo. After getting richer from the Type R meeting, I returned to the professional league. As my NSX has no turbo attached to its engine, it was able to enter the race of naturally aspired sport. The first race of this series was set on the Infineon. The opponent drove nice cars. We got a Cobra R, the M3, and the... wait, what the hell? A colorway? That's a bit much, isn't it? The colorway is basically a souped-up Corvette C5. Well, whatever. The NSX was designed to take on supercars anyway. My first attempt at escaping last ended in a slight scuffle against the GTO instead. Fortunately, the GTO braked too hard and replaced me in last. I tailgated the M3 and gone for the gap the moment he had gone wide. The Audi was next, and I pursued the colorway. The Corvette on steroids versus Honda's redefinition of sports cars. I remained close to the colorway, refusing to let go to the best of my abilities. Finally, I managed to outspeed the colorway. With the C12 out of my way, I set my sights for the golden trophy. On the hairpin, I went for the inside and overtaken the Mustang. I controlled the throttle down the third turn, but I overestimated the car's handling, leaving turn 4, resulting in an absolute state of touching grass on the next corner. I went easy on the corner to prevent the car from spinning out of control and safely re-entered the asphalt, where I was supposed to be. Despite that absolute cock-up, the gap between me and my rivals remained. Guess I worried too much about racing a colorway. It's not even second. On the straights, I grew the distance and carefully took the hairpin. The series of waving corners were next. I carefully throttled the car down the track, turned the hairpin, and that was lap 2. On lap 3, the gap had at least doubled. This time well, at least I still got 2 wheels on the asphalt. I carefully weaved along the twisting turns and braked timely before the hairpin. After a smooth execution on the hairpin, I put the hammer down and finished first. The colorway wasn't even the biggest threat. Whoever driving that C12 is a joke. Next up was the Apricot Hill race.
How are you?
Big talk for someone's too scared to show his face on the Infineon.
What? I was just getting my friends. Speaking of me, George, here's that guy that's on the fun pitting and
Won't be the first supercar I beat. Bring it on! Upon launching, I outsped the Grand Sport. The chicane came up next, and the Mercedes was out of the way. I chased down the Z and nailed his spot on the next hairpin. Then, the tall order to outrace a Pagani freaking Zonda came up next. As expected, the Zonda would just kill over. I spent the remainder of the first lap already, and the best thing I did was keeping up. A chance did come on the second lap though. The Zonda didn't look very happy about being beaten by Honda. After the Italian supercar was taken care of, only the Tamora remained in the way between me and my victory. I weaved through the twisting turns and once again kept up with the car on the straights. I thought on the final lap's chicane, I'll take his spot, but he was more resilient than what I hoped. Even the hairpin was not enough for me to take the win. On a twisty set of turns, I managed to convince the Tamora of the pole position and took the win. Looks like the Tamora took the pole, get off first place too seriously though, as its driver ran it deep into the grass, giving the Zonda its silver medal. I won. That's another win and 155 points in the books. The next race was set on the twin ring Motegi. The red 350Z might not be there, but... Get off my line. I do not talk to talentless cowards.
Wait, Yuli, this is the Dimitos. Yeah, I got more friends to join you than a race today, huh?
Okay. Which ones are your lackeys this time?
There's George, you know, don't forget Maxwell. He's wearing his hair number 6, and I got him pole position. You ain't touching him anytime soon.
This guy, I swear. I took out a C12 and a Zonda. What makes him think a simple Cerberus Speed 6 would be enough to stop me? If he used any cell of his brain, he would fund this Maxwell fellow a Speed 12 instead. The race had just begun and already I faced down a tough rival. Something caused both the Zonda and the M3 to be spurred out of control, giving me the perfect opportunity to perform a double overtake. The GTO was next, even less of a challenge than those two. The real problem then was the Tamora and the Speed 6. Looks like he got a point. This Maxwell really had it in him. Look how far he is from me. On the straights, this problem became even worse as his Speed 6 clearly has enough power to outrace the competition. If I were to win, I must bring my A game. The second lap came up. I drove through the first two turns the best I thought, applied the same approach for the next two turns, and before turn 5, I realized that the race had become even more spread. The gap between me and the two TVRs didn't seem to mend until before the hairpin. On the straights, they managed to regrow a portion of the distance, but I managed to cut them back on the corner. However, knowing this race only has 3 laps, that was not enough. I tried a different approach on the first turn, allowing me to enter turn 2 better. On the third corner, I have finally managed to outrace the Tamora, but the real problem would be the Speed 6. I honestly did not expect Maxwell to have me on the ropes this bad. I've underestimated the Speed 6 big time, with the TVR being at least as fast as my NSX, and there's only less than a half of the lap remaining. I guess that's it. Take the L, take the money, try another time, right? Just another professional league event. You win some, you lose some. I guess this is it, folks. Our rising star has fought well, but in the end, the marvelous combination of Maxwell and the Cerberus Speed 6 has proven to be unbeatable. No, I am not going down like this. If I'm gonna lose, then I'm losing on my own terms. And that is after I give it everything I've got. Incredible! The last minute overtake from Strakes. The table has been turned. Maxwell goes in for an attack, but Strakes refuse to bend the knee. They are neck and neck meters away from the finish line and across the line. What a beautiful comeback from our rising star. Looks like this is not the race that I'll lose after all. The next event was set on the special stage Route 5. Another Speed 6 was featured, but the color was different. That's not Maxwell. Speaking of familiar faces though, I've beaten your boys George and Maxwell. You are next.
That's it. Maxwell? Do you?
Check the records yourself, coward. He's done.
Then I'll get you for them here.
Do your worst. I might have talked a bit much there, and now more than half of the first lap had passed, but I haven't made any progress on climbing up the ranks. I have finally overtaken the Speed 6. The Red Spira was next, and right at the tunnel's entrance, the vet was no longer a problem. After I have overtaken the Grand Sport though, the car's line widened. Not ideal. The Red Z and the TVR was long in front of me, but that was no reason for surrender. On the hairpin, I took the inner side and overtook the Red 350Z. I tried to be optimal on the corners, but instead grazed the wall and almost botched my entire run. Fortunately, that was still salvageable. In the tunnel, the TVR was overtaken, but it had more power than I thought and reclaimed the crown on the straights. Me? I was not going to let such disrespect slide. I remained close and dueled the British car wheel to wheel until I retook my place in first. In the end, I placed first, leaving the Z lagging in the dust of my wake. The next race was set on the Trial Mountain. The lights counted us down, and off we had gone. I fought the black BMW for 5th. After I won, I immediately challenged the silver M3. Apparently, I was too focused on this one BMW that after I gained a spot, I crashed into the Speed 6 before me. I utilized the curves and took the orange TVR. Then, the black Tamora. Right in the tunnel, I overtook the white NSX. In contrast to some of the previous races, I have successfully gained first before the second lap. With them out of the way, I believe it was time to perfect my mastery over the Trial Mountain. I thought I took the corner well, but that little jump caused an unexpected, much less welcome drift. But fortunately, that was the trouble, as I gotten through the next corner cleanly. Sadly, the same thing couldn't be said for my attempt at this corner before the straights. I maintained a well-taught racing line throughout the corners and gotten to cross the line for the second time, marking the start of the third and final lap. In this lap, the distance between me and my rivals was massive. This time, I took more caution on not causing the little skip to devolve into an unwanted drift. Approach this particular corner carefully so I wouldn't be sending my NSX onto the tunnel walls and gotten through the hairpin. Despite my efforts, I was unable to top my record on this lap, but still, first place. What was that? About making sure I never win again?
Just shut up, lapdog. You doomed yourself by signing a deal with that opportunist anyway.
Alright, what is up between you and Mr. Bluelock?
Don't you get how big his blue troopers control over Gran Turismo?
I mean, I'm part of it, but let's pretend I don't.
You're just a bow. Do you really think Bluelock wants to play kingmaker for you? He's just using you. The moment he tells you to fix a race, you will know.
Whatever you say, buddy. Just know that as a racer, you suck. Except for Maxwell, you and your gang, not even a challenge. Alright, the prize I get for winning over them supercars is... a NSXR. Almost the exact same type as mine. Too bad it's white. What am I supposed to do with this? Give it away like the rest? I mean, that's what I'm supposed to. Wait. I have a much better idea.
Pleased doing business with you.
The pleasure's all mine. Enjoy your new ride. And I thought I was a fanboy. Right, now to move all of my rides in here. Okay, barring the Tuning Car Cup, there's a national event my NSX could take part in, the Japan Championship, a tournament made to decide which Japanese sports car is the best. Determined that my NSXR was the best, I signed myself to prove my theory. The first round was set on Fuji Speedway. The lights counted us down, and off we go. Upon launching, I took the pink RX-7, and before the first turn, its younger brother was next. My technique caused quite a ruckus though, as I might have made the GTR and NSX drivers very angry with me. That's a problem future me will have to solve. Before the hairpin, the yellow Impreza was overtaken. I carefully navigated through the chicane and onto the long straights. There, the power of all contestants would be tested. Entering the second lap, I remained on top. These other racers, pretty much a non-factor at this point. I would rather focus on getting the best laps. A rather not optimal entry to the first turn, but I tried to make it up on the second turn, only to inadvertently climb up the curbs and almost violated the limits of the track. At the very least, I could do the hairpin. Could be worse, and an absolute mess on the chicane. This is worse than lap 1. The third lap must be better. Okay, a better entry on the first turn. I put the hammer down and brake timely for the incoming turn. A controlled throttle before tackling the hairpin. I remained on the inside in hopes of entering the chicane from an advantageous point, and god damn it, I had to touch grass, ruining lap 3. At least this lap would be better than the previous one, no? Next lap, I have finally nailed the braking point for the first corner. A rather controversial take on the Coca-Cola, followed by a smooth turn on the 100R, leading to the hairpin. I braked in time and took on the corner. 2 wheels might have left the asphalt, but everything else was under control. I weaved through the Dunlop chicane smoothly and across the Panasonic turn without touching a blade of grass. Finally, a smooth lap and a personal best, an actual record that I could be proud of. Unfortunately, this was followed by an absolute cock-up on the first corner, ruining the lap after it had just started. I drove through the Coca-Cola, did what I had to do on the hairpin, and timely slowed down for the Dunlop. At least I learned how to not touch grass on a Panasonic corner. That's a win, a perfect 10 points to open the championship. Next round. Round number 2 was set on the Tsukuba, a track I remembered fondly. Last time I was here, I scored a lap only a car of the 911's caliber could set. But before I get to beating my personal best, I must first do away with the competition. I've gone too deep on the first corner, almost lost control of the car and touched grass, but I managed to get 5th regardless. I shoved the white NSX out of 4th and took the wider lane in hopes of outpowering the RX-8. That might have turned out to be a failure, but eventually, the Mazda succumbed to my performance and skill. Second lap, 3rd place. Not for long as I overtook the Subaru and dueled the Skyline for pole position. There might have been several failed attempts at overtaking, but eventually, I got first on the hairpin. Before I knew it, I was at lap 3. With the competition out of the way, I sought to best my previous record of 1 minute and 3.3 seconds. On the 4th lap, I braked in time for turn 1, weaved through both the 2nd and 3rd turns in a way to ensure a decent position to enter turn 4. I managed to maintain this racing line for the following corner and step on the brakes to properly handle the hairpin. The final winding corner came after the straights. With finesse, I managed to drive over it. I created a personal best for this race. But that was still slower compared to my personal best back then on the Type R meeting. But I wasn't done. On the 5th lap, I tried to better my driving. I took on turn 1, controlled my throttle down the corner, hit the apexes on turn 2 and 3, maintained my racing line throughout the hairpin in turn 4, and despite a hasty entry on turn 6, I believe it would not invalidate my attempt at breaking my own record, as the car has yet to spin out of control. The second hairpin was taken with the racing line in mind, and I hammered down the straights. I made sure to not touch the grass on the final corner of the lap and scored a time 0.2 seconds faster than the previous lap. Might not look like much, but trust me, in racing, each millisecond counts. Unfortunately, nothing of note happened on lap 6, therefore I'll go through lap 7 instead. Like lap 5, I braked in time to take on the first turn, weaved through the 2 turns before the hairpin, and managed to secure a good entrance towards it. I processed the hairpin with care and kept the racing line followed on the remaining corners before the last hairpin. So far, this lap felt similar to the 5th lap, and the record showed only a tiny bit faster than the aforementioned lap. The 8th lap, this time, I went as close as I could to the curbs, but without touching them instead to ensure my car was balanced throughout the corner. On the 3rd turn, 2 of my wheels left the asphalt, but it did not seem that the speed was disturbed. Plus, it helped me entering the 4th turn from a vantage point. I navigated through the corner and took on the next with a similar approach. On the straights, I hammered down and made sure the car did not eat grass. In the end, I've managed to shave a few more milliseconds off the books. But this lap was still not faster than my previous run. I entered lap 9, raved myself to the curbs on the first turn, navigated through the next 3 turns optimally, sped past the next series of corners and across the final hairpin. This time around, I was a bit bolder on the final corner, pushing the car on full throttle on most parts of the half-circle turn. This boldness rewarded me in the form of a time under 1 minute and 3 seconds, an actual personal best. If you take a look at fastestlaps.com, you'll see that this is faster than the Jaguar F-Type, a car with double the horsepower this NSX has. I ended the race in first after almost 11 minutes of driving around this track. The 3rd round was set on Tokyo. Upon launching, the rivals surprisingly held on their own. I could not outpace any of them until the hairpin. On said hairpin, however, I took on the RX-7 and won. The white NSX lasted a while, but not long enough to hold me back from 4th. Then, the RX-8's time on the podium was up. I followed what I believed to be the best racing line to be taken, but the GTR had a roughly similar idea and blocked me. I managed to overcome this ingenuity and move into second. Then, my focus was beating the Subaru. My pursuit of the Impreza had led me to be a reckless driver. I smacked myself against the wall, and as a result, my chase on the Impreza had just gotten harder. I thought I could outpower the Impreza on the corner, but instead, misread it and was flung to the wall hard. On the straights, the Impreza managed to pull away. This distance, however, was short-lived as I outperformed it on the hairpin. I tried controlling my throttle, but again, was introduced to the guardrail. I took the inner side of that corner and got even closer to the Impreza, but alas, that was not enough to claim the victory royale. I took the insides and took advantage of the fact that there were no grass around the borders of the track in Tokyo. Turf cup riding, I overtook the Subaru and claimed first place. But my fight was not over, and the Impreza meant business as I was defeated on a straight line. I did not just sit there and take it though, as I reclaimed my rightful spot on the hairpin. But that was a wake-up call for me to stop messing about and take this race seriously. The fierce duel went on for a short while, but eventually, I managed to build some distance away from the Impreza. At that point, outside of the Subaru, the rest of the grid could be considered irrelevant. I remained as close to the walls as possible around the hairpin, but the Impreza managed to steal the game I made shut. A parallel on what happened on the previous lap. But if he thinks I'll let him snatch a comeback from me, he's dead wrong. I took on this particular corner with extra care this time, avoiding the wall as any major mistake at this point would cost me the race. Through a beautifully executed turn, I managed to distance myself from the Impreza a little, and on the final straight, my lead was practically cemented, and I brought home another victory. 3 races in, 3 P1s, onto the 4th race, which was set on the twin ring Motegi. I tried to take the RX-7 on the first 2 corners, but failed as the RX-7 proved to be better. That claim did not hold any water on the next set of turns though. The white NSX was next. He braked too early and got me third as I also beat the Mazda on the turn. This time, the Impreza was a fairly easy opponent, overtaken with minimal effort. Looks the skyline good. Really? Oh, never mind. I still suffer from skillless issues apparently. A bad one as that gave his Subaru P2 back, albeit momentarily. Honestly, I had no idea what was going on inside the white NSX driver's head, but him bumping into me like that might have involuntarily helped me gain P1. On the second lap, I started to build a gap to strengthen my lead. Apparently, the rivaling NSX had claimed P2 for himself. By the end of lap 2, the gap between racers should have been large, but no, apparently, the white NSX was capable of keeping up. On the third lap, I tried to get the opposing NSX away from me. I employed more power onto the corners, hammered down the straights, and carefully addressed the hairpin. Well, as careful as I could because apparently skillless issues still haunted me. That mishap killed the divide between the 2 NSXs, and I could see the NSX speeding up to take my position away. I refused to let such thing happen, and so I moved into block. But this movement sent some of my wheels through grass. I barely had enough time to brake and slow down before the corner, but fortunately, I still managed to negotiate through turn 1 and 2 well. This skillful gameplay was rewarded in the form of quite a considerable gap that I've created. Although, thanks to yet another less than ideal gameplay, the rivaling Honda got to mend that. Despite everything, I was still on the lead, and I intend to keep it that way. The final set of corners were through. I focused entirely on blocking the NSX, which I did, resulting in yet another close win. But you know what they say, it doesn't matter if you win by a quarter or by a mile, a win is a win. I got 40 points in hand, and the guy in second only got 19. The tournament was as good as won. I could sleep this one out and still win, but like most people, I like money, and sleeping won't earn me that 7,500 credits. That is why you are seeing me here in Suzuka, racing a race with a determined outcome. It's not like getting first was hard anyway, not even half a lap in and already, I'm leading. A serious lapse of judgment made me touch sand on the second half of the KCO triangle. Criticisms from Anakin Skywalker aside, this allowed the rivaling NSX to attack. Of course, I moved in to defend myself and kept my trophy. On the second lap, I treaded carefully on the S-curves, sped through the Dunlop curve into the Denner curve, and carefully rolled around the hairpin. The blind turn before the spun curve was a problem no longer, and I sped up on a straight section. Another shot at the KCO triangle, and this time, no! Oh god, Strakes, what are you doing? Stop messing up, would you? Damn! So this is why you shouldn't drive while feeling sleepy. Well, at least I'm still leading. Anyways, after the hairpin, I took on the blind curve, wild shaky. That could have gone way worse. But an opportunity is an opportunity, and the other Honda took it to apply even more pressure to yours truly. On the second half of the KCO triangle, this absolute cheating son of a cheated me out of my first place. Sleepy, low-key angry, and overall wanting to sleep, I tried to claim my place, but my messy driving had done nothing but to grow the gap. I already have this championship in the bag anyway, so might as well give this one to him, right? On the blind corner, the gap had magically increased. The more this race progressed, the heavier my eyes became. I tried cheating my way back, but the sand held me back. Now I understand Anakin's disdain towards his grainy little That's the first second place ever that I've ever gotten in this whole tournament. 5 grand still not bad, though considering I won the whole 35k by winning the tournament. This entire endeavor had awarded me with... Holy moly, a Le Mans car, but its color is red! Well, that's a blue around the bumper. Should count, right? Nope. That outrageous ending of a tournament aside, selling the Z had doubled my bank account's worth. With this amount of money, I can buy practically anything, barring the Group C cars, and do I know the best place to spend this hard-earned cash? What the hell? Get off me! Ow! Ow! Good night. Who are you, and how did you find this place?
Are you straight?
And who might you be?
You know Jack Knight well. I'm his brother. He's outside of town right now. Blue Lock chased him out.
Again with this. What is it with people in Blue Lock?
Jack was... That's not important. I have to deliver his message to you.
Shoot.